You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense. Hello and welcome to Radio Nonsense, the official Comedy Club for Kids podcast, suitable for all ages from 2 and everything in between. I'm Tiernan and I was so close. Oh, that's so annoying. I knew I should have paused my game to do the podcast, but I just can't stop playing it. You know what it's like, right? When you've got a game that you're playing and you do not want to stop playing for anything. It's like really annoying when one of your draggly cheese feet, sorry, grown-ups, tells you dinner's ready, but you just need to finish the level you're on so you can save it. Or when you need the loo, but you're going to have to wait because you've got to beat this boss first. Or when you're about to be eaten by a lion, but you have to say, no, wait a minute, Mr. Growly. I'm finally about to unlock the dungeon and get Stephen's gloomy sandal. You're going to just have to wait a second. But obviously you can't have too much screen time, can you? That's what draggly cheese feet say. Sorry, grown-ups, isn't it? You're only allowed 1 hour of screen time while I spend all day on my phone or on my laptop looking at a screen or in the car with a windscreen or wearing sunscreen. I'm pretty sure that's all the same thing. Linda, does wearing sunscreen count as screen time, Linda? No idea. If I could, I would play this new game all of the time. I have to say, it's so exciting. Every second of every day, I would play this game. I did actually try to do that, but instead, I eventually fell asleep and then sort of died on the game because I was asleep. And then times I got hungry as well, and then you have to go out and do stuff. Anyway, it's really annoying that life gets in the way because I would play this game all of the time. Let me tell you about it, right? You won't have it already because I got sent an early version, being a cool podcast host person, right? But this game is the best. It's called Who's Seen a Carrot? And you have to embark on an epic journey to find out exactly who it is that has seen a carrot. So far, I've travelled across the irritating rainy lands and defeated the boss there called Sad Greg. Then I solved all the puzzles in the shopping centre you can't find the exit for, and I found the exit, which is pretty good because I've seen online a lot of people can't do that. There's loads of videos about it. And then I climbed up the annoying hill and I beat the mutant waffle maker, and now I'm in the final bit, the is my internet down zone, where every few seconds it all stops working and you have to figure out, is the internet down or is it just the game being the worst? And I know that if I could just play a tiny bit more, just a little bit more, I just got to play for a little bit longer, then I will face the final boss and I will find out who has actually seen a carrot. Anyway, I'd so nearly finished it, but then of course, had to start this week's show. So annoying. I mean, you're not annoying, listeners. Sorry, I just really want to play this game, and I will do the show, and I will finish the game. I've not been playing it solidly for a week just to turn it off. But I suppose I should remind you that if you have any questions you need answering, or you want to send in any jokes or anything about which computer games you get told off for playing all the time, then please ask your draggly cheese feet, sorry, I mean grown-ups, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclubforkids.co.uk. And if they'd like to support this show too, as it's not on a screen unless you put it on one and then you stare at it for ages, which I suppose you could do, or you could sort of like plaster it across your windscreen. Anyway, then those grown-ups can sign you up to the advert-free Linda edition for just $2.99 a month, which you can get on Apple, Acast Plus or Patreon too. See all of our live shows at comedyclubforkids.co.uk, which I promise I will not play computer games through, and you can grab our t-shirts at comedyclubforkids.store. Right, okay, look, I got through that quickly. Can I get back to my game now? I'm so nearly finished. I'm really nearly at the end. I just need like 2 more minutes, maybe 5 more minutes, maybe half an hour. I promise, I'm going to finish it soon. Yeah, okay, I suppose you can have the other most important bit first.
This old baldy is going to tell me about video games.
I am very excited to be joined on the show today by Meredith Hackman, also known as Meredith, the best person to point at antelopes with, aka Murmur Hackles, the world's first underwater skateboarder, or as all our Hausa-speaking listeners know you, O Aaba Itaba Telatala Min Jamia. But of course, Meredith, you are most famous for your campaign to make all drinks and even foods fizzy, for your brave work helping ghosts to modernise their haunting techniques, and as our listeners will know you for, mostly being the person who single-handedly does the pollen count every single year. Meredith, it's such a delight to have you on the show. So I'm very cotton-mouthed today, so I nearly messed up your intro there. I do apologise.
It's so great to be here, and to be performing for non-ghosts is really such an honor, and not that I want to make my ghost community feel bad, but yeah, it's nice to be performing in front of a live person.
Oh, well, it's a delight. It's a delight that I could be here for you and not
Yeah.
be a ghost. That's something I try and do as often as possible, actually. And I try to not be a ghost if I can help it, I think.
You're doing so great at it.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And how a ghost audience is not that... I don't want to make assumptions. I don't want to upset the ghost community as well. I don't really know. I'm guessing they can't do applause.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of booing.
Right. Sure.
Right. And of course, I'm often underwater skateboarding. So having the ghosts underwater, I mean, the kind of ghosts you get down there, it's very complicated.
Oh, gosh, I bet they're quite terrifying ones.
Quite. I mean, mostly fish ghosts. And
Oh,
so
okay,
they don't know,
okay.
They don't know much about skateboarding or about comedy. So they're very confused.
That sounds... And how do you know which fish... Because some fish are like those kind of see-through ones... Like, you get those like little sparkly see-through ones, and they almost look like ghosts anyway. How do you tell which fish are ghosts and which fish are sparkly see-through fish?
I mostly poke them.
Right. And does that go down well, or...
Well, the thing is that I'm not really looking for fish audience. I'm looking more for ghost audience, because that's my go-to demographic. So if I poke them and it doesn't, they don't feel the poke, then it's fine. And that's who I'm looking for anyway.
Right, that's good. That's lovely. You've got this. I shouldn't really question this, because you're the one with the expertise, and obviously you know exactly what you're doing. I mean, I do have to ask, because you said that ghosts mostly boo. Obviously, not the underwater ones; they're all fish. But the ones that mostly boo, I assume it's good-natured boo. Is that the only thing they can do? Have you learned to kind of work out which are good boos, which are bad boos?
Of course. And really, you don't want to get into a conversation with them. Some of them can say more than booing, but the things they say, I mean, it's they're not current. So they'll talk to you about things that have nothing to do with anything. I can't hear about horse-drawn carriages much anymore,
Right, sure. And to cater your material to that is very... A lot of listeners won't know, but when you're a comedian, you're performing, you try and make your audience... You try and do material or jokes for your audience,
right?
And that's hard. If Meredith, you're here now. You can't write jokes about, I don't know, the 1600s.
And I really try, but they'll stop me and correct me, and then that's when I say, just booing, please.
Right. And so you boo at them, and they boo at you, and
yeah, it's mostly back and forth booing. It's a call and response. There's not really many jokes. Just a call and response of booing.
It sounds quite therapeutic, though. Like, it sounds like one of those things, like a sort of wellness thing, where you go into a room and you all shout boo at each other or something, and then everyone leaves feeling all refreshed.
Well, that's how I got into this career.
Right.
Yeah, I went to one of those, and I kept booing at people, and then everyone left, but I didn't know, because I was booing at a bunch of ghosts, and that's when I found out that I had the site. And then they were like, hey, can you help me haunt better? Because no one even knew that they were in the room during the therapeutic session. So they weren't doing a very good job haunting,
That's amazing. I should ask, and obviously, I don't want you to give away anything for free, because it's a career. But we may have ghosts listening. I don't really know all of our listeners.
Right.
I think some of them are children, some of them may be grown up, some of them might be coyotes. I'm not sure. There may be ghosts, right? And if there are ghosts listening, or perhaps someone who'd like to be a ghost for a career, what's the one thing that you would recommend they do to kind of stay modern, to kind of make their haunting technique better for nowadays?
Definitely listening to podcasts. I think that not enough ghosts stay hip with what's going on today.
Right.
So if you're trying to be a ghost, I mean, you don't want to be that person who's been saying the same thing for the last 4,000 years. You want to be in with the culture. You want to know what pop culture has going on, and what everyone's talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Do you recommend them? Well, actually, hang on. I just get can ghosts wear headphones, or is that like a different problem?
I actually helped invent some headphones for ghosts.
Oh wow. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's very cool.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't pay well though, because they are, dead.
Sure. So they don't have any funds, and
They're
yeah,
not liquid, and liquid funds.
yeah. Sure. So you then make headphones, and you've got to spend all the money making the headphones, and then no one pays you for them.
Right. It's a passion project.
Yeah,
So,
but it's
yeah,
charitable. You're helping ghosts. Who else is out there helping ghosts? I don't know of anyone
I don't
really
think
that's
anyone
helping ghosts.
is. I mean, not to make myself sound like a saint or a savior, but I do feel like I'm the only one really in this industry,
Mm,
except for one guy. But we don't talk about him.
right, not professional.
Not professional. No.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He doesn't do the work the way I think the work should be done,
Sure, I understand that. I understand that, and also it's there's always people out there. It's probably that he saw an article about you or listened to a podcast about you and your brilliant work and thought, yeah, I can do that, but didn't bother to research any of it and just sort of went out and poked ghosts in the eye, even though they weren't fish. And I'm sure he just
goes in willy-nilly, and you can't just be
yeah.
poking ghosts in the eye. Like I do it very respectfully,
That's
but if you're
nice.
gonna
I
just go
believe you. Yeah.
poking everyone, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, this man should remain nameless, because I just don't want to be associated with him or give him a platform.
Sure.
But
Does he have a name though, or does he have a
he
name?
he has a name. Yes, he absolutely has a name.
Right.
And those who know who I'm talking about. But I don't want to go on podcasts and badmouth him. Because
sure, but it's also good, again, if we've got ghosts listening, I don't want them to go to the wrong person. They know who you are, but if they spook in a different area, and this guy appears, and all they know is, well, I better not look for someone who's nameless.
Right.
That could be
well,
quite
that's a
confusing.
good point. No, that's an excellent point. And it is rather confusing because his name is Hackman Meredith.
Oh, that's awkward.
It's very awkward, which is why I don't like to bring it up, because it feels...
Yeah, that's really awkward for you.
It's really awkward.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. Yeah. I tried to file a lawsuit. I'm very litigious, but they said it's his given name, so there's nothing I could do.
That's very unlucky to have exactly that given name, which is the reverse of your given name. There must be a way. Yeah. Have you checked to see if there's anyone else out there who's not got your names in it? What if there's a Macman Meredith? Have you checked to see in case?
Oh, we don't talk about Macman Meredith.
Right. Okay.
You know Macman Meredith?
I've heard things, but I didn't want to suggest that.
Yeah, she's fine. She's just a little boring, and,
sure,
and I don't
sure.
I don't want people thinking I'm Macman Meredith. That would be embarrassing.
Of course. But am I right in thinking that she bores ghosts? Isn't that where she just turns up and they get really bored and then they leave and go and haunt somewhere else?
Yes, she bores them, but also she helps give birth to them. She borns them.
Right, okay, right.
So, it's very complicated, and we all are in the same industry.
Sure.
It's a little crowded, but
right. And what about Dithman Hackman?
Dithman Hackman?
Yeah.
Honestly, she's kind of a mentor to me.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, yeah. That's nice. That's good. Yeah. That's good.
But obviously she does not work with ghosts.
Sure. And is that that's something she's really strict about?
Really strict. She does underwater skateboarding, but no ghosts. And so we never overlap.
Right. Okay. That's good. Is it possible to do underwater skateboarding with no, because you said all the fish down there, like she's got to be very careful where she skateboards.
Yeah, there are a lot of ghosts, but she doesn't poke them, and that's how we're different.
Right. Okay, that's good. It's good to know that there are some people out there with combinations of your name that are okay. Apart from you, obviously you are, but
I'm the top. I'm great.
Yeah.
I'm the second best one.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the least you could hope for. I mean, because my full name's Tiernan Duyeb, but I know Nanreet Buyod. He's awful. Like he is really awful.
He's one of the worst.
He is one of the worst. And Tiernan Duyeb, I mean, I've never known anyone upset quite so many earthworms in 1 week, let alone a lifetime. So it's I've got to be careful that no one associates me with those two, because they're the worst.
I mean, if you're going to go after earthworms, I mean, how low can you go? It's
yeah, well, exactly. Exactly.
It's really, yeah. You should aim for higher, and that's why I'm glad that you're representing that name group so well.
Well, thank you. I try, and that's all we can do, isn't it? It's all we can do. We can, we've got these names. We've just got to kind of represent ourselves with those names. We can't. We can't speak for everyone with a similar name.
No, although some people try.
They do.
Yeah,
they do, and they're wrong. They're
wrong.
They are wrong. And if you're listening out there and you've got the same name as someone else, that you're wrong. I think that's how it works. Is that how it works?
I mean, a lot of people have the same names. I don't think anyone named David is wrong, and there's a lot of people named David.
So not a single person called David is wrong.
I mean, I've only met nice Davids.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. I can't speak for all other names, but David's a good one.
No, I mean, it's great to know. You know what? I'm trying to think about it. I've met some Davids. They've all been pretty nice. Yeah.
Pretty pleasant. And I'm not saying that they're solving the world's problems. Some of them might be, but not all Davids.
Sure. Yeah.
So they're not wrong, though. But I want to just be very clear on my stance on Davids.
No, that's great. It's I'd never really thought about it. I think I'd met so many Davids. I'd never really tallied them all up and gone what their good and bad points are. Because if I had, I think I'd have realized, actually Davids are all right. Yeah.
You got to keep a list.
Do you keep a list of all the names of all the people you've ever met?
Of course.
Wow, I'm learning so much today. Okay, have you met a lot of Jeffs?
No. Very few Jeffs.
Right, very few Jeffs.
Very few Jeffs. Yeah, my Jeff book is very small.
Right.
I've added Maureen to the Jeff book because I just had so much extra space.
Sure. And does Maureen do well for the Jeff community? Is she making their reputation better or worse?
They're still working on the alliance, so I don't want to speak to it. But I think she has promise. I think she has promise within the Jeff community.
Okay. That's nice to know, because I'd feel like if I joined, because there's not a lot of Tiernans out there, I'd probably have to join some other, like, I don't know, Sarah's or James's, something where they'd probably have to. Oh, really? Not those two. Okay.
Oh, there's a lot of Sarah's and James's you're competing with. I think it would be wiser for you to join like a Rudolph.
Oh, sure. Well, I was just sort of thinking like maybe I'd work hard to boost their community. So like if I was like an honorary Sarah, I'd try really hard to build that side up,
Well, I know a lot of Sarahs, and I could put in a good word for you.
That'd be very kind of you. Thank you. I'll try my best. I'll really study into what makes a good Sarah, and see if I can do it.
All right, I will write a letter right after this.
Well, thank you. You're so lovely. I have to say, it's such a pleasure to have you on here. I feel like I've learned quite a lot already. But also, it's just there's such sort of good vibes, such lovely energy coming from you, Meredith. And I think it's obviously because you're not the other people with different variations for your name. I think that's probably a big part to it. But it's nice to have that on this podcast. And I know the listeners will enjoy it as well. And obviously, I have asked you here because there is a question that I think. In fact, I know that you are the person that can answer it. I know that. But if it's okay, I've got some admin questions that I wouldn't mind asking you first, if that's all right.
I love admin questions.
Yeah, I do have to apologize. I've got a really I'm gonna tell you and the listeners is I ate some melon before I spoke to you. I don't know which type of melon, like a yellow melon. And it's made my mouth all like cottony, like it was like, and so when I'm saying like words are just like, bleh. Have you ever eaten a bad melon?
I don't eat melon. I don't eat any type of melon. Watermelon, but watermelon's not really a melon.
It's mostly water, isn't it?
It's mostly water, and it's red. Yeah. Cantaloupes, honeydews, I refuse to eat them. So mostly because of what's happening to you now. I'm so sorry about your melons.
I'm sad about the one I ate was a cantaloupe or a honeydew. I don't know. I can't remember. I know which one water is. I know which one it is. It's big, it's green, it's red on the inside. It knows what it's doing. The other ones are all like, are you yellow? Are you green? Are you round? Are you know, like, what are you? And so who knows? I mean, it did look like kind of like a giant lemon. I don't think it was a lemon. I think it was a melon. But I'm just I'm warning you. So I just want to apologise for any sort of fumbling of words. It is entirely the fault of a melon, and not
I
my
completely understand, and I blame the melon and not you.
Well, thank you very much. Again, it's too kind, too kind. Well, listen, they've got these admin questions, and I just need to check them before we go into the proper question. The first one of which, and I don't know if you're aware of this, Meredith. Actually, I don't know if I warned you before we spoke, but this is an audio podcast, and a lot of our listeners, even if they're ghosts, they'll probably be listening to this with their ears, but they may also listen with their knees, with their elbows, with their bums. I don't know, however they want to do it, that's fine with us. And I just wondered if you had a favourite noise that you could make for us, or at least tell us about.
Which is, of course, a monkey eating a lemon poppy seed muffin.
I mean, that was absolutely incredible. I have to say, I think the Zoom that we're talking, I think it's slightly muted you because of the noise was so incredible. That I'm not sure we can hear it. But can you give it another go?
Of course, it's such a good noise. I mean, I should do it 50 times in a row. Hold on. I hope it doesn't overwhelm the Zoom too much because it's too good. Ready?
Okay. Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah, and it is a monkey eating a lemon poppy seed muffin.
And very specific. So it's very specifically a lemon poppy seed muffin. That is the noise, just for that muffin. Just for that muffin. Yeah, a blueberry muffin has a totally different noise. Right. Okay. Yeah. And can I ask why you know what it's like when monkeys eat that muffin? There must be a reason. Have you observed monkeys eating that specific type of muffin? Of course, it's everywhere in America. There's monkeys eating lemon poppy seed muffins. Do you not have that in the UK? No. Actually, that's interesting. You say that. No, we often have squirrels eating a shepherd's pie. But that's they don't make a lot of noise. They just sort of. It's not very scarier. Scarier sound for sure. Yeah. Unless they're using a knife and fork, and it's different. But yeah. They don't really eat muffins or do that noise. So that's a very American thing, is it? Very American. Yeah. Any American you talk to will know that noise. Wow. Well, I feel stupid for not knowing. I didn't mean to make you feel stupid. I mean, the globalization is hard for everyone. It's hard to know things. Yeah. I just feel like more people should know about. If you're a listener and you're not. If you're a listener in America, you probably think, well, I hear that noise every day. But if you're not in America, be aware. I guess be aware that monkeys eat lemon poppy seeds muffins very, very regular. Would you recommend tourists bring some over for the monkeys, or is it wise to not let them? No, I think most Americans listening to the podcast will probably be like, why did she make that sound? Why does she even like that sound? We hear it all the time. You don't want to give the monkeys more lemon poppy seed muffins because then we'd hear the sound even more, But and that's why I thought it was kind of very personal to share that it is my favorite sound. I love it. My worry is clearly someone is giving them the lemon poppy seed muffin. I mean, unless they're making them themselves. I haven't. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of questions here, and it's something that's so new to me. I mean, it could be at one of the monkey bakeries. I haven't checked them out for myself. Sure. It's outside of my purview. I kind of thought that they were getting them from the government, but I really can't be sure. Right. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I suppose that thing is I don't know how many monkeys you know. Do you know many monkeys? Are you of course. Yeah. I mean, generally, if they're left up to their own tricks, there'll be trouble. They do all sorts of things. They sort of like pinch things and they climb stuff and they throw stuff. And if they're sitting eating a muffin, that's probably the least damage they're going to do that day. So maybe the government thought, how do we stop all these monkeys wrecking everything? Lemon poppy seed muffins. And honestly, that's why I'm part of a movement trying to get lemon poppy seed muffins to people, because people in America are also always climbing things and throwing things. And I think if we could give
ourselves some muffins, maybe we would calm down, you know?
That's a great incentive. Yeah, well,
It's a,
very good luck with that. Yeah, I think lemon
Thank
poppy
you.
seed muffins for all, maybe for all wildlife and all creatures. What about ghosts? Would ghosts eat a lemon poppy seed muffin?
Of course not. That's
Right, sure,
ridiculous.
sorry.
Sure.
Sorry, I just
They can't eat.
yeah.
I mean, it's actually pretty rude to bring up.
I'm sorry to any ghosts listening. I sort of got carried away with the idea of kind of peace everywhere because of lemon
No,
poppy seed muffins. But obviously,
you
yeah.
can't know. You can't know.
Sorry.
So
Sorry,
I don't hold
yes,
it against you.
No, thank you again. Too kind. Well, thank you, and thank you for the fantastic noise that now I feel we all know so much about. And of course, the other question I do have to ask is, this is very important. Is this podcast is suitable for all ages? In fact, any age you can imagine. I don't know if you can imagine an age, Meredith. Can you imagine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, it'll be suitable for that. So.
Oh yeah. I. You know the imaginary number I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. It's totally suitable. Yeah.
The square root of -1.
Yeah, well, you are 100%. Yeah, of course. If someone listening is the imaginary number of I, they are more than welcome to like it is suitable for them 100%. It's not suitable for 100-year-olds. It's suitable for everyone else. But everyone else. So yes, it's a very good number to imagine actually. And so I just wanted to check, that if there are going to be any rude words that you won't be saying to make sure this show stays family friendly.
Sure. I will not be saying the word allora, which is an Italian word that I just learned, that I keep saying, and it's very rude to say on this podcast, I think, because it's a word that people say to buy themselves time so they could think, and I wouldn't want to think on your podcast.
Wow, no, it's almost it would be rude to think on this show. Actually, I have to say.
What I
so
think.
I really appreciate that. I also think because it's quite a lovely sounding word, allora, but because you got the little roll on the R there, haven't you? Which is quite nice.
Yeah, I don't know if you're supposed to or not, but I love a roll, so I
it was good.
Yeah.
It was nice, but I also wonder if that's quite dangerous to say. What if people think it's a rattle and it sort of lulls them to sleep, or it might be a rattlesnake, or it could be upsetting in that way.
I haven't even thought about that. It's a new word that I learned, and so I haven't seen the repercussions of saying it in front of different groups of people. But that's something I'll look out for. Yeah,
it's a good idea. And you said, is it just they like people say it in Italian to kind of just give themselves more time?
Yeah, just a little filler word when they're trying to think of something.
Wow,
and
so you could just
think of things
keep
a lot.
saying it. You could just keep saying it and no other words, and people would just think you're about to say the biggest, most thought through thing ever.
Well, I don't know any other Italian words, so I figured that was a good one to know. Just keep buying myself time.
That's very. You could just turn up to Italy and only say that, and they'll be all waiting and just think, when's this big important statement going to come?
She's such a great thinker. Yeah.
Yeah, you could go down as one of the big philosophers of all time.
That's my dream.
Yeah. And in Italy as well, that's where they built all the statues of these people. Yeah.
The philosophers?
Well, like Michelangelo, all those sort of famous artists did lots of statues of people thinking and philosophy and all sorts of things, didn't they? So if you did it there, I reckon it would be minutes and there'd be a big statue of you.
And I bet Michelangelo would make it. The ghost of Michelangelo.
Sure.
Yeah.
Would it be would it be a ghost statue? How would he do that?
I mean, just normal ghost materials.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's a mixed medium, generally. Wisps of air and hope. Nice. It's beautiful. It's beautiful if you haven't seen it. Yeah.
It's nice to know he's still doing art. That being a ghost hasn't stopped him being an artist, and I think that's beautiful.
You'd think he'd be tired of it, but he also does a lot of curling.
Sure, yeah,
sure. Which it's good to have other hobbies too. You don't just want to do art.
Does he do the? Do you mean like curling on ice, like the ice? So does he do the sweeping the broom bit, or the curling the puck bit?
The sweeping the broom bit.
Right, sure, yeah.
He does not shut up about it.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
It always looks so fun, that bit. I often wonder, when you see people do it, I often think, like, is that a professional, or is someone that was cleaning the floor, like, slipped onto the ice and then got carried away? Like, because sometimes they really sweep. Like, they really, really sweep.
Well, how do you find out that you're good for a job like that? I mean,
Yeah.
you must be doing a lot of sweeping at other places first, I would imagine. I don't know if it's a stepping stone to being great at sweeping in general.
Maybe it is. Maybe that's it. And yeah, because there must be like someone that after hours is like, you have to clean the ice today, and then they get on the ice and they go, oh, and then they start sweeping, and then somebody in the audience box is going, wow, I think you should do curling. This is clearly your job.
Well, I think that they probably have scouts watching people clean the ice, just for moments like that. Yeah. I don't know much about curling, but these are my assumptions.
I have no idea either. I have always wondered why it's always this, like, why no one ever comes on with like a Hoover with a vacuum cleaner. It's always like a sweepy thing, but no one ever comes on like with a vacuum cleans the ice, because that would make it really clean.
That would make it the most. I mean, I assume that's breaking some kind of rule, but you're right. That's smart. Maybe no one's ever tried it.
Yeah, I might write to the Olympic Committee, and because I feel like you need to modernise ghost haunting. Sometimes these sports need to keep up with the times, and I would like to see someone come out with a little Henry vacuum cleaner Hoover with the little face on it and hoover the ice, and then someone throws the puck, and I think that would be powerful.
It would definitely incentivize me to watch, but I don't think Michelangelo would be very happy about it.
Sure. Yeah, of course. We've got to think of the traditionalists, of course. Well, listen, Meredith, thank you. Thank you so much for not saying Laura, and I definitely wouldn't dream of saying it on this show, because it would upset far too many people, because they just think, they wonder when the end of this podcast go on for hours, because there'd be no end. So thank you very much.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, listen. Right. This is. I don't really know how to ask you this. This is a big question. We've had this big question, and it's come in from DaTacoBen, who says he's from the United States, so may well live next door to you. I know it's not that big a place. He's probably might be across the road, or I don't know if you know DaTacoBen.
I'll check my Ben list.
Yes, good, very good idea. And I assume, I don't know how you feel. I don't know if DaTacoBen is a taco himself, or if he is someone who makes tacos, or he's eats. I don't know if the title, or maybe he's always slightly folded, sort of sitting in a folded position. I don't know.
I love tacos, so I hope he isn't a taco, because I have eaten tacos before, and I wouldn't want to offend DaTacoBen. But if he is a taco, I would respect that and would stop eating tacos. He just needs to let me know.
Yeah, well, also I worry because he did send this in a few months ago. Have you eaten tacos in the last few months?
Yes.
Yes.
Several.
This is
very worrisome.
Let's just hope. Yeah, let's hope he wasn't one of those tacos.
I hope so. Oof.
Yes, could be. Well, but if he was, then he'd have a taco ghost, and then who better to answer his question than you?
That's a great point. Hi, DaTacoBen, on this plane or the next.
That's great. I feel like we're safe either way. That's lovely. Well, listen, Meredith, this question is, I believe this is for you. I can't think of anyone better to answer this, and I'm going to just read it out as it was written to me. And the question is, zip, zip, whap, farting dinosaurs question. If a dinosaur farts on you, do you become a dinosaur? Yeah.
I mean, truly, I must know DaTacoBen, because this feels like a very pointed question.
Right.
Because it's well known that I was farted on by a dinosaur myself.
Right.
2018, I time traveled back, and I tried to avoid getting farted on by the dinosaurs, but they just saw me and were like, she looks like she wants to be farted on, and then they did.
Wow.
And I became a dinosaur for about 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, Dilophosaurus, I believe, and yeah, it faded off, because farts fade. It was only 3 months. And when I came to, I had done a lot of damage. You could imagine how embarrassing it is. to be a dinosaur for 3 months. And when I time traveled back, the reality I came back to was not the same as the reality I left, because of the butterfly effect.
Right.
So it's very embarrassing, very awkward. I really am learning new stuff about this timeline all the time.
Wow. So what did you say? It's a Dilophosaurus? Was that what you said?
Dilophosaurus.
I'm
I
not
believe
familiar.
so.
Right.
It's possible that they were just joshing with me and they made it up. But I think
okay.
I'm pretty sure it's a real dinosaur. And not something the other dinosaurs made up to mock me.
What were your dinosaur qualities like? Because I don't know what a Dilophosaurus, what their quality. You know, Triceratops has the horns.
Right.
Tyrannosaurus Rex teeny arms. Like, what was your thing?
My thing was mostly just being friendly, being a good friend.
That's nice. That's nice.
I picked the other dinosaurs up when they got back from holiday, and I would go with them on errands, and just like a good friend kind of dinosaur.
That's real nice. They must have been really sad when you left or when you turned back, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it was hard, but I didn't belong in that time. It was just supposed to be like a long weekend. It was like for 3 months. I was racking up some bills. I had to come back and deal with it.
Yeah, I bet. Was the issue? I don't know how you time travel. I don't know your method, your preferred. Do you have a machine, or is it just a little watch, or what's your?
It is a little watch, which was really hard when I turned into a dinosaur, because my wrists were not the same size as my human wrists.
That was my worry. Right, sure, yeah.
So I was constantly worried about dropping the little watch. But I managed to keep it safe, probably because I was being such a good friend. The other dinosaurs looked out for it.
That's nice. But it's lucky because could have ended up on a little raptor's wrist or something, and then suddenly a raptor finds themselves in America in 2018. There could have been some other situations happen there, and I think you were very lucky to avoid those.
Well, and I mean they did borrow it, the raptors. Sure. Right. Well, which is probably why you know about that. But just for quick jaunts. Sure,
just for little fun. Like weekend, long weekend kind of visits, and
sightseeing. And I understood that, and I wanted to make sure that they were able to see the world too.
That's nice. That's so nice.
Yeah.
And when you were a dinosaur, did you fart on anyone and turn them into a dinosaur? Or
I would never do that. But my friend Josh, the dinosaur, was farting on everyone. It was funny. I did laugh when Josh did that. So I guess I'm not above everything.
Sure. Yeah. Right. I mean, this is going to be a very sensitive question because obviously you became friends with those dinosaurs. I don't want to. I've already upset the ghost community on this show. I'm so sorry about that, ghost. I'm so sorry. I don't want to upset the dinosaur community, but they're not. They probably won't be listening to this. But there's lots of questions about why dinosaurs went extinct. Can I theorize theoreticals? Can I? The
melon is acting up again.
Yeah, it is. Can I have the theory that dinosaurs farted on everything and turned them into other dinosaurs, and then they wouldn't have had anything to I suppose they'd just eaten each other. But if everything was dinosaurs, that wouldn't have been great for them. They needed some things to be the floor or some plants.
Well, they would never fart on the floor. I mean that would be really inappropriate. And Josh was funny, but he wasn't crazy. I mean, you need the floor.
Sure. Okay.
Right. There were rules. I mean, there were farting based rules in dinosaur times.
Right. Okay.
That everyone and some people went a little rogue. Some of the dinosaurs went a little rogue, but no, they followed mostly that. But the big problem was that they farted on so many people and created so many dinosaurs that they didn't realize they didn't have any real dinosaurs left. The only dinosaurs that were left were people or things that turned into dinosaurs.
Wow.
And that's how they all went extinct.
They all turned back and no dinosaurs. That's really careless. That's really careless farting. Yeah.
And some of the dinosaurs fell in love with not real dinosaurs that had been farted on. And that was very hard. That's a very, a very hard romance because they couldn't build a life together.
And as I guess we know, but we don't really know if a human farts on a dinosaur, it doesn't turn the dinosaur into a human.
No, we do know.
Oh, we do know.
Of course.
Right.
You don't think we did that? Have you never
Right.
farted on a dinosaur?
Well, I just, again, I'm here in the UK. We don't really have many dinosaurs. We've got badgers. It's not really the same.
Right.
Owls. They don't really do dinosaurs. So
Right.
there's not really, if you fart on an owl, it just looks very sad. It just looks really sad.
And I would advise you not to fart on any more owls.
Yeah,
You don't want to make them sad.
Yeah.
No, I did fart on a dinosaur when I was back there.
Right.
And they did not turn into a human. They turned into a palm tree.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Probably because I live in Los Angeles. So
that must be. Do you know what? That's probably it. That's probably it. Yeah.
I don't know if a British person farted on a dinosaur, what they would turn into.
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, maybe an umbrella or some chips or something, or a cup of tea, possibly.
But chips is very dangerous, though. Chips are delicious.
Yeah, that's true. And then other dinosaurs would eat them.
Yeah. And that would cause extinction even faster.
I mean, it's lucky you know your time traveling rules, because I think that there's a lot. I mean, not least, obviously, that the timeline has changed since you came back, but it's so much more. If you were being completely careless, there could have been so much trouble.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. The things that could have happened if I wasn't as careful as I was. Although, I mean, major events did change.
Right, sure. What's been your favorite thing that changed that you've come back to? There must be something that you're like, oh, thank goodness that's changed.
Now there's souffle.
Oh, and that wasn't there before.
There was no souffle before. It's been very exciting to experience souffle.
Wow, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Yeah. So that was good. And air conditioning. There was no air conditioning before. So I'm really enjoying that. And dancing.
Right. There was no dancing.
No, there was no dancing. So that's been a hard thing for me to adjust to learn how to dance.
Of course.
A lot of wild gesticulating and stamping, and I don't know. I just hope that no one can tell.
Sure. I mean, it all kind of depends on. There's so many different types of dance that I think as long as you chose the right music to dance to, no one would have a clue.
Are there different types of dance?
There's so many different types of dance.
Oh, I didn't.
There's like fancy dances. There's like the waltz and the foxtrot, or there's just sort of like head banging and jumping up and down and like raving and street dance and break dance. I mean, it's ballet. There's a lot, and so if you just pick the right one, like if you want to go for like Hungarian techno folk rock or something like that, no one would notice that you have no idea what you're doing.
That's what I've been learning, Hungarian techno folk rock. So
that's the one.
That's the one
I think to stay safe. Yeah. Or go to a wedding and then no one cares. I think that's the other.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I will try to go to weddings.
Yeah.
Do you just show up to those, or?
I think you just rock up and have a few snacks, and then you can just sort of dance. And if someone says, "What are you doing here?" just say, "Oh, I'm someone's uncle," and then you'll get away with it, I think.
Oh, okay. You think I can pull off being someone's uncle?
I think everyone can pull off being someone's uncle.
That's so nice.
People don't do it often enough. It's a very good tip. So
I'll try it.
Yeah, well, you've helped me so much with so many tips on this show. I feel like that's the least I can give you. So that was a great. You've answered Ben's question very definitively, actually. And I do hope Ben isn't now going to seek out dinosaurs to be farted on by. Is that would you advise that he does or doesn't attempt to let this happen to himself?
I mean, it was the best 3 months of my life.
Sure, right, sure.
Yeah. But DaTacoBen, if he is a taco, it'll be a very different experience. I don't know how easy it is to get a time traveling watch when you're a taco.
Yes, good point.
I don't want to deter him. I think that he should follow his heart, and it's not pleasant to get farted on, but it is pleasant to be a dinosaur. So.
That's great. And for all we know, you ate DaTacoBen, you time travelled, and he became a taco in the stomach of a dinosaur for 3 months.
Probably.
We just don't know.
We'll never know.
Wow, it's so deep. We start these shows, we've got one question. I know I've got a guess, but we end, and it's like, this is deep, and I hope all the listeners understand that we are finding out real life questions, the answers to real life questions here. Sorry again, the melon, just forgot words then. But it's important, So thank you, Meredith, and I thank you so much for your information on ghosts, on Italians, on dinosaur farting. It's been magnificent. And have you got a busy rest of your day, week, life ahead of you? What are you up to?
I was going to eat a melon.
Oh, which type?
I don't know. I'm not
not
discriminatory of melons.
Just
I can't tell the
careful.
difference.
Yeah. Were melons around in the previous timeline?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
They were terrible then too.
Melons.
Yeah, but I have to eat one. It's the rules. So
right, sure.
Yeah.
Well, same. That was my daily allowance today. So
right.
Yeah. I'm glad I spoke to you before you ate your melon. I'm so sorry that you spoke to me after I ate my melon. And next time, I hope we can figure it out to speak both speak pre-melon.
I mean, that's the time difference. It'll be hard, but we'll try to find that perfect pre-melon moment.
Well, thank you so much, Meredith.
Thank you so much for having me.
I hate video games.
Oh, you're back already? Right, sorry, let me just pause it. Sorry, thanks so much to Meredith for taking time out of helping ghosts to answer DaTacoBen's very important question. And what an answer she gave too. DaTacoBen, I do hope you like the answer. And if not, why not get a dinosaur to fart on any complaints you have, and then they'll become a dinosaur and get extinct before I have to read them. If you have a question that you need answering, then do get your draggly cheese feet, grown-ups, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. And of course, you can send in anything else you like too. If your grown-ups also want to help support this show, they can sign you up to the advert-free Linda edition for just $2.99 a month, and you'll get it a day early as well. You can also sign up for that at Apple Podcasts, Patreon, or Acast Plus. And you should come and see our live Comedy Club for Kids shows, which you can check out at comedyclubforkids.co.uk and grab our t-shirts and book at comedyclubforkids.store. Right, now I can finally get back to Who's Seen a Carrot? I'm just on the last bit, and there's the final boss, Big Susan, and I've just got to dodge all the small packets of mayonnaise and ketchup that she throws at me while trying to, got it, ruin her new white trainers with flecks of mud, and the last little flick of mud, and yes, I've done it, I've clocked the game, I can't believe it, what a rush, wow, oh, I'm so excited, listeners, and now I get to find out, finally, who has seen a carrot. Wow, I can't believe I did that on the hardest setting possible, the oh no, why would you do that to yourself game setting. But here it is, here is the big finale. I feel like I've really earned this. Congratulations, you have won the game. You are a true champion. Yes, I am. Thank you very much. And as the people thank you for defeating Big Susan because she really was the worst, you realise that actually no one has ever seen a carrot because you live in a world where carrots don't exist and no one has sent you one in the post or anything. Thanks, bye. Is that it? That's it. So carrots didn't even exist in the... Why did they call it? Computer games are the worst. I'm going to throw my controller in the bin and only ever do things like go outside or talk to a hedge or point at a tree. Oh, there's more text. What's it say? Do you want to play Who's Seen a Carrot 2? Who's Seen a Carrots? There's a sequel! Download! It only takes 9 hours and 52 minutes to download it, so I'm going to sit here and wait. I promise, listeners, I'll have this all finished by next week's show, so don't you worry. Or maybe the show after that. Or maybe the one after that. I really got to make sure I spend some time on this. Maybe someone has seen a carrots in this next world. Oh, bye! You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids Presents. Radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense. It's the end.